objective of this lesson is that students will gain an understanding of the similarity between poems and the lyrics of songs. So to start the class, I would start by saying, okay class, today we are going to learn about the similarities between poems and the lyrics of a song. To begin class, we're going to start with listening to the song that we will be reading the lyrics of. And then I would play that song and make sure students are actually listening to the lyrics instead of spacing off. Now that we've listened to the song, I want you guys to get out your reading notebooks and make a T-chart. I would model for the students what the T-chart looks like and write down as many terms about reading lyrics that you can think of. For example, when reading lyrics, there are different verses. Think of some other terms you know. So then I would give the students some time to do that, and before they started doing that, I would write something on the board that looked similar to this. So I would do the T-chart, and I'd be like, okay, you put poems on one side, lyrics on the other, and list the terms of what you guys know, and would let them go off and do that. And so once they were done with that, I would tell them that I want them to think about poems. We've been talking and looking at poems for the past few days. On the other side of your T-chart, I want you guys to do the same thing we just did, except it'll be terms about poems. So, for example, poems have stanzas. So, after they made the T-chart, they would just have the poems and lyrics, but only the lyric side would be filled out, and now it would be their time to fill out the poem side. So then I would ask them, okay, does everyone have their ideas written down? Make sure they're done. And I would tell them to get with their elbow partners at their tables and discuss what terms they knew about lyrics and poems. And I would give them a few minutes to do that. Once they were done sharing, I would have them share their ideas to the whole class, and that's where they would see this T-chart. It would be up on the board in the class so that everyone could look at it. Everyone could see the different terms for poems, different terms for lyrics. So then I would let them discuss that, and then I would compliment them on their good conversations if I heard good conversations, and tell them that I am handing them 2 pieces of paper. One of them has lyrics to the song we listened to at the beginning of class, and the other has the poem we read yesterday. And I want them to highlight the similarities they see between the two. So I would give them some time to do that, and at the end their papers should look something like this. I just have like the stanzas on a poem are similar to the verses of a song, and how sings and wings rhymes in the poem, and then patch and catch rhymes in the song, and how poems have lines and songs have lines, and how some poems have repetition and this song has repetition. And I would give them like 5 to 10 minutes to do that. And so then I would ask them, can everyone turn to the next page in their reading notebooks and make a Venn diagram? So then I would model what a Venn diagram is for the students, and I would tell them that I want them, still in their groups, to fill this in with information they have collected about poems and lyrics. So remember how you highlighted those similarities? That is what is going to go in the middle of the Venn diagram. So once you guys are done, we will make a class Venn diagram like we did with the T-chart. So their Venn diagrams would obviously look something like this. They would pretty much just copy what they had down on their T-chart and put it into the Venn diagram. So their similarities, they got those from reading the poem and the song, and these came from their T-chart, so they just had to pick and choose which ones were similar and which ones were not. And then we would go over it as a class, and we would talk about how, poems have stanzas, lyrics have verses, but those are still kind of similar. Like a stanza in a poem is something completely different than a verse in a song, but they look the same, and how poems have patterns, which lyrics sometimes do, but most of the time don't. Lyrics have a beat, which is similar to rhythm, but both poems and lyrics have rhythm, so that would be in the middle. And we would just discuss why what was similar goes in the middle and why what was different is on the outside, and have a good class discussion about that. If I, for example, had a student who had hearing difficulties, during the time that the students were listening to the song, would have it on maybe a CD and let that student listen to it with headphones. I would probably pair the talented learners with the low-level learners on this during the partner thing so that there could be some peer learning going on. And so I might ask the talented learners more challenging questions to answer, like challenge their thinking a little bit. And the assessment for it would be me just doing that whole group thing, making sure everyone understood the concepts of what was going on before we moved on to the next step. And at the end of the class, I would tell them that their assignment for tomorrow would be to find their favorite song lyric, school-appropriate ones, and bring them tomorrow with your terms written down and labels on the song. So you could highlight a verse and then label it verse. Does that make sense to everyone? So it would be pretty similar to what they did in class, except it would be their own song. So kind of gives them a chance to do something that they might be more interested in because it's actually a song that they enjoy. And for backup, in case I finished all of that quickly, I would have the students get into their pairs and do impromptu songs/raps about school or what they like about school, something along those lines. And their homework then would be to present that to the class the next day.